Welcome to WDDD. You guys don't even know where you are.
That sounds very ominous. I'm going to post a video on the Instagram to explain where you are right now.
I mean, it is honestly, it's a good solution. I'm very comfortable. And we're recording 2 episodes. I thought it was going to fall and hit me in the chest.
I should tag Chelsea in this.
Yeah, this is good.
Is it Chelsea Lynn or something?
No qualms here.
Yeah, Chelsea Lynn.
Let me see if
That's her name.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's the one. She's slamming her boob down on some bug here. She's holding some dishes with her boobs there.
Honestly, oh, no, I put it too far. Yep.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Can't mess with a good thing.
Yeah, honestly, I shouldn't have touched it. I know I did. I'm trying to make sure that doesn't, I feel like it's going to do the, oh, wait, no, it can't do that. All right. Yeah, so we're good.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. It really moves around when you
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Beautiful.
So, now, I understand that we do a lot of research and whatnot in the animal kingdom, right?
What are we talking about?
It started with the TikTok.
We personally do a lot of research?
Oh, like we as human beings.
Okay.
Scientists, zoologists, all the gists
All right.
of the animal world. The one animal that I feel like you guys are a little bit too, you guys do a little too much, is I honestly feel like it's inappropriate, is when they open a kangaroo's pouch and stick a camera in there. It's inappropriate.
You think?
I do. It feels very invasive. It feels like we're when I see it, I feel like I'm not, I feel like you're doing stuff that's just, stop it. So last night I was watching a TikTok and they're explaining basically that when a kangaroo is born, it's like a few inches long. It doesn't have any limbs or anything like that. And then it starts to kind of develop its stuff. And then it attaches itself to one of the nips in there. And then it lives there for the next several months until it's like a normal looking raccoon.
Raccoon. Okay.
Kangaroo.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. And then honestly, I don't know where that came from. I don't know what just happened. I can genuinely say I don't know what just happened. But a kangaroo.
That's a normal looking raccoon. All right.
Yeah. And then it comes out and then it will still go back in when it wants to take a little snooze or whatever.
Yeah. That's what I don't like about the kangaroos is that you see the ones that are getting pretty big and they're still fucking pulling themselves back into that pouch.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is sort of the equivalent to when you see a child run up to its mother.
Yeah.
And it's like, milk.
Yeah.
And you're like, the fact that this child can say milk and is running around.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very inappropriate time to be breastfeeding this child.
I feel like the cutoff should be when they can ask for it.
It seems like 1.5.
I would agree with that.
When it can start eating solid foods.
Yeah. Because a lot of the time it's more so for a comfort or for, the bonding of mom and baby. I'd say that's a cutoff. But definitely if you're like, Mom, can I have some breast milk? Get the hell away from me.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw it, but there was this thing that came out recently where it was a woman, it was her wedding day, and she goes and she knows that her husband or her husband-to-be, her fiance, is in the bathroom with his mother. And she's like, what the fuck is going on in there? And she opens the bathroom door and he's breastfeeding off her.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. What the fruit?
I know. I didn't read the article because I was too disgusted.
Because, women can continue breastfeeding as long as they need to. And
as long as they continue doing it, right?
Yeah. So if you decide that for the next 10 years, I'm going to be breastfeeding, then you'll do it.
Apparently 20-something.
That's gross.
At his wedding.
That is the weirdest thing. I don't care.
Oh, here. Okay. A wedding artist shared how one of her clients found her groom being breastfed by his mother just moments before their wedding.
Why would you even want to? Do you, whenever yeah, babe, I'm going to go to my mom's. I'll see you in a little bit.
Yeah, it's so gross.
You're just going there to breastfeed? That's friggin' weird.
Ugh.
You know it's weird, too? Because at that age, aren't you doing stuff with her boobs, too?
Yeah.
In
At that age,
way?
boobs to you are only sexual.
Yeah.
Or should only be sexual.
It's weird that, it's just weird.
Beth asked, why was his mom producing milk? Mitchell replied, she's obviously been doing it continuously to get to that point. What was more shocking was that the bride went ahead with the wedding. One user said, took mummy's boy to a whole new level. Another wrote, oh my God, I didn't know what to expect, but that was not even a fleeting thought. Yet another added, the way I was like, nothing could be worse than him cheating. Yep, that's worse. I'd be a runaway bride so damn fast.
Okay. If, God forbid, you found your husband-to-be doing that, would you be able to continue?
This is going to be the only time in history that anyone has ever said this, but thank God, but my boyfriend's mother is deceased.
Oh my gosh!
So there's no possibility of this ever happening to me. However, if I'm forced to face the actual reality of that, oh God, I don't know.
I can tell you right now.
We would all, the three of us would have to sit down. And we would have to have a serious conversation. And it would have to be like, this stops today.
Yeah.
We're not telling anyone else about this ever.
Yeah.
And we're all going to attend therapy together for the next, like, at least 6 months. And you guys have to commit to it. Mm-hmm. And we're all going to, right now, write this out in my phone. And we're all going to just videotape ourselves agreeing to it.
Yeah.
And if we don't do the 6 months of therapy, or if this goes back to how it was, annulment.
Also, you guys are not to be left alone with one another. That would have to be a condition.
Imagine, though, your husband can never be alone with his own mother.
That literally what you said is exactly what I would do with that added in. You guys are not to be alone for any moment. No closed doors. You're not sleeping over here because when I'm sleeping, I can't trust that if he's going to the bathroom,
he's not going to be
swinging by. Yeah.
Oh, man.
No, there'd be very strict rules in place.
Well, and she'd have to be doing it pretty frequently to continue producing milk, no? You can't just, like, nurse him 1 day a week.
It depends, because what if she's pumping? Because if she's pumping breast milk, it's the same equivalent.
Like, she's literally just doing it. Imagine you're, like, pumping, like, your breast milk all week and, like, pouring it down the fucking drain or something just so your adult son can suck a titty on the weekend. I would literally want a man to have any other vice than that. Gamble. Sleep with hookers.
Somehow that does work out to be better than... Because I feel like that's something like that is avoidable. But your mother is just kind of a fixture in your life. Ugh. And then she's going to have her boobs with her at all times.
Yeah.
So...
It's very creepy.
Oh, man.
I'm very creeped out by that. Mm-hmm. That's like... They'd have to be in their 20s.
It makes me feel, dare I say, like it makes me feel like it would be a little bit fetishy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that makes me feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I just pray to God. Nothing happens to his penis while that goes on.
Oh, I didn't really think that far.
Yeah. That's my thought in it. If there's any sort of like arousal aspect of it, then it's over. Then for me, if I walked in and he was aroused while doing this, then no, marriage is off.
Okay, I guess though, in a sense, because she would have had to just continuously breastfeed him throughout every aspect of his life. Mm-hmm. So I guess in my head, maybe it wouldn't be a sexual thing. It would just be like, we've just always, it doesn't matter how old I got, she always breastfed me.
Yeah,
so.
I would think it's not a sexual thing. I would think there isn't an aspect of it. That's why I'm saying if there was, then 100% wedding is off.
Yeah.
But... Yeah. If there wasn't, then we could discuss it at least.
Then it's getting into, well, how far does it go?
Yeah.
And then she's allowing it too. So it's not just on him. It's not just on her.
Yeah.
So you both are, if it was a sexual thing, it would be, I couldn't.
100% off.
Yeah, I couldn't.
He probably still like lives at home then, if this is going on.
I mean... I guess, because then it literally would be like, oh, Mom, I'm kind of thirsty. I'm swing by. Oh, God. I'm just kind of hungry. I'm just going to...
He just has like a standing dinner date every like Sunday evening. He's the only one eating.
Yeah.
Maybe she eats while he eats.
You know what? I feel like it would be like what I said, like the whole, like some moms feel like you know, like, I don't want this to end. It's very bonding. It makes me feel close with my child.
There's lots of ways to bond with your child.
I mean, I would think so, but...
Many appropriate ways to bond with your adult children.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't even stand when people are like, oh, how old's your baby? 24 months? They're 2.
Yeah.
That is 2 years.
That's 2 years. In case you needed to. No. How many months are in a year? It's 12.
Right? Because I feel like at the cusp of 2 years is how long you should be counting months.
All right, I'm telling you a story now.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Why Did I Do That? I'm Sarah. That's LaShonda.
Hey.
I'm going to tell you a 2-part story. So this is going to be part 1 of a 2-parter. It's a Toronto local.
All right. I was just going to say, who are we doing?
Well, I'm not going to just out and say it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna lead into it.
All right.
So
I'm going to try to figure it out.
I'm going to set the scene.
A Toronto native.
Yeah,
Recent?
it's a Toronto local story. Not recent, but they've been in the news for the past week.
Oh, you know.
So that's why I'm doing it. Because I wanted to talk about the update of what's been going on.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so the story starts off in a well-known bar in Toronto. You may have heard of it. At the time of its closure in 2016, the Brunswick House,
Unfamiliar.
or the Brunny, you never heard of it? Mm-mm. Oh, it was known to be like a college university bar.
Okay.
So it was in the Annex. Are you familiar with the Annex?
The Annex.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where it is. It's kind of like, it's not that close to the colleges and universities downtown, but it's close enough. And I feel like there's a lot of student housing and student rental apartments in the Annex. So
The Brunny, vaguely, there's a file way in the back that may have that written, but it's literally just the name.
well, it closed in 2016, so so it's been a little bit. But it was pretty filthy. It was a pretty filthy little hole in the wall bar. And it was just all students.
Loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was 2008 when 19-year-old Laura Babcock met 23-year-old Dellen Millard.
Not ringing a bell.
Not ringing any bells?
Not ringing a bell,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe when you get into the actual story of what happened, maybe that will. You know, Names and Me. There's people that I've literally done a whole episode on, and I'm like, what was their name again?
Because the actual events took place 10 years ago, 2013.
Okay.
Okay, so Laura was a student at U of T. So she was studying English and drama, and she had dreams of becoming an actress. Her friends and her family all described her as bubbly, outgoing, full of whimsy, and just basically an amazing person overall.
You know, you keep looking up at me. I'm like, you look very pretty today.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something
I'm wearing
on.
different eyelashes.
Is that what it is? Because I'm like, oh, she's really making eye contact with me today.
Yeah, they're just it's the same style eyelashes I usually wear, except they're there's more lashes to them.
Okay.
So it makes them more impactful.
It's working.
That's funny because Ahmed kept looking at me being like, oh, you're so pretty.
Yeah. Okay, because guys, she's literally she's doing her story, so she has her notes in front of her. So she looks down, and it's that moment when she looks up at me. I was like, oh,
I think LaShonda has a crush on me.
oh, bet.
Oh my
Meanwhile, I'm
gosh.
over here does she like me? Is that what's happening?
Getting a little hot.
Am I the drama?
Getting hot in here. Am I the drama? Oh my God, I think I'm the drama. Okay, so Dellen Millard, on the other hand, in opposition to all the nice things that people had to say about Laura Babcock, not much nice things were said about Dellen. He had completely the opposite life circumstances.
I imagine. I'm thinking he's the killer here.
He's the drama in
He's
this
the drama.
situation. Yes. So he was the only child of an extremely, extremely, extremely wealthy family.
Okay.
So right away, that's the problem.
I think the files they're computing.
Yeah, I think there are things that are going to ring a bell for you.
Okay.
So he was always given whatever he wanted. He never experienced any kind of limitations or boundaries or anything during his upbringing that would have made him a normal person. Okay. Very privileged, very wealthy. Yeah. He his parents did get divorced eventually, and then they all lived in separate houses. They owned tons of properties.
Is he white?
They're white, obviously. Come on.
Well, you said privilege, and I was like, I don't know where we're at.
Privileged, white. Aren't those the same words? Come on.
All right, this is why they do that.
So, according to classmates, despite his family's enormous wealth, Dellen always seemed like, and I quote, a bit of a hillbilly.
Oh.
They said that he would always sort of just dress in like jeans and plaid shirts and stuff. And like he went to school with like rich kids.
Oh, yeah.
Because he grew up in like a really super rich neighborhood over in Etobicoke somewhere.
Okay.
And so he went to some like super rich school. I didn't look up what schools they went to or whatever, but basically everyone that he knew was super rich. And they all would be wearing like all his designer clothes and, you know, having nice cars and all that kind of stuff. And he just they basically said that he looked like he worked on a farm.
Okay.
Which he did. His family did have a farm.
Do you know what they were rich for? Like, was it?
Yeah. So Dellen's grandfather had started an aviation company.
Oh, okay.
So they had planes. So that was back in the 60s when he started it. And it was at a time where that was gaining more popularity and they were using planes to like transport goods and stuff. So they didn't do like passenger flights. They did like transportation of goods. And so he bought a bunch of new planes and they had an airplane hangar that was downtown Toronto.
Okay.
And so they did that for years. And then when the grandfather passed on, the business got passed to Dellen's father. Okay. And then they eventually sold the airplane hangar that was downtown. And then they bought a new hangar that was out in Waterloo.
Okay.
And so Waterloo is an area that's maybe, an hour and a half, 2 hours west of Toronto, I'd say.
Yeah, about 2 hours.
So Dellen was technically employed, in quotations, and paid by the company, but obviously he didn't really do any work.
Like a couple hours a week.
And probably had no bills to like actually pay himself. Yeah. So he just basically with whatever money he had, or I'm sure he had access to all the family money. So his interests were like cars, like racing cars, working on cars, flying. When he was maybe 14, I think, he set a record. And I say that in quotations too, because I think it was just like, he probably was like, I want to set a record. And so his dad was like, oh, who can I pay for this? And his record was the youngest person to fly both like a plane, like one of those small planes, and a helicopter in the same day.
What?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah, I guess he just probably got one of those Guinness World Record books and was like, I want a record. And then his dad was like, how did I make this happen?
No, that's stupid. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, so that was his record that he set. So Dellen's friends described him as generous. He did regularly buy them expensive gifts, footing the bill at restaurants always. Like his friends said they would all go out to restaurants and bars and stuff and no one ever thought about paying. Like he would always just be like arranging everything, booking everything for them, paying for everything. Like there was not a question. It would always, his dad's credit card, let's just be clear. He would go with Wayne's credit card and slap that baby down.
Were they legit friends though, or was he doing that to keep said friends?
Yeah, in a lot of things it said, basically, he was like buying his friends. Yeah, he would take them on trips. He would buy them gifts like Sea-Doos and things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like real lavish lifestyle going on here. He even bought a house in Etobicoke where he lived, and they pretty much just like tricked it out to be like a party house. Oh. So Dellen and Laura, they dated only briefly, like only a few months. And they decide to break off the romantic relationship, but they stay friends. Okay. A number of people said it seemed that Laura maybe had become very drawn in by the money and the lifestyle that surrounded Dellen. And they did seem to maintain a sexual relationship along with their friendship.
All right.
Okay. So in 2010, Laura meets a man named Sean Lerner. So this becomes her boyfriend, and they date for about 18 months. And they all sort of seem to know each other. It's sort of like, it's like a friend group, but like sort of an extended friend group where they wouldn't...
They're all interconnected somehow.
Yeah, they're all sort of interconnected, like Dellen would throw parties and stuff, and like Laura and Sean would go to Dellen's parties. And so Sean knew of Dellen. He had met Dellen. You know, everybody kind of knew each other's history and stuff. Okay. And they still were sort of friendly, if you will. So they date for about 18 months, Laura and Sean, and they end their relationship around Christmas 2011, but they also decide to stay friends. So about Sean, the boyfriend that she had after Dellen, there's very little said about him other than that he was a very honest, nice guy, hardworking, just a little businessman. He looked very sweet. As the story goes on, you'll like him more and more. But there's not much about his life. And then after the fact, he's been very quiet about everything. He won't do interviews with like the Datelines and the this and the that.
At least we know he's still alive.
He's still alive,
All
yes.
right. Okay.
So over the span of 2011 and 2012, despite graduating from U of T with her degree in English, Laura's mental health seems to be on like a steady decline. She begins doing drugs and drinking more heavily, and so this whole group of friends, like Dellen's, all the people surrounding Dellen, they did like to do drugs, and Dellen and his friends like bought drugs, sold drugs, did drugs. Like there was a lot of drugs and drinking and partying going on around them. So Laura, during 2010, 2011, 2012, as her mental health is degrading, she's doing more drinking, more drugs. When she's getting in like sort of disagreements with her family, she finds herself like essentially homeless. Okay. She's like leaving her family's house and she's relying on friends to sort of couch surf around for somewhere to stay.
Do we know she was a wealthier type or?
No, just regular, regular schmegular middle class fam.
Okay.
So, and even sometimes she was relying on strangers to find somewhere to sleep. I read just one story from this one woman who said one time she was sitting out, I think it was in Etobicoke. She was sitting on her porch late at night and she was having a cigarette, like before she was going to go to bed. And she saw this girl get dropped off in a cab. And there was like sort of a parquet across the street with a bench. Yeah. And she said she saw her get dropped off and she had some bags and she had her little dog. She had this little tiny, I think it was like a little Maltese or something. Okay. This little dog, Lacey. And she watched her basically just walk over to the bench with her stuff and sit down. And she said it looked like she was just sort of like hunkering down for the night to spend the night on this bench by herself in a park in Etobicoke, which is not the greatest place to be. And so this was like a young woman as well, the one that was having a cigarette. And so she actually like went out and talked to her. And she said she sat there for a little bit and she talked to her and she found her to be like normal and trustworthy enough that she invited her to come and stay the night in her apartment.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was nice of her.
Yeah, very nice
Why
of
didn't
her.
she just go back to Dellen and be like, listen, I'm in a situation.
Dellen, first of all, it's Dellen. Dellon. Well, I'll tell you. Okay. So there is times where they sort of like lose touch and then get back in touch.
Because I was going to say, if you have somebody with the means that can put you up somewhere.
She has lots of friends and her friends are like letting her come by and sleep and stuff. But keep in mind, she is having problems with drugs and drinking. She's having mental health issues. Yeah. So she's probably burning some bridges. Yeah. She's probably pissing some people off in the process. Okay. All right. You know how it is. Yeah. Okay. So over the next year or so, Laura was hospitalized at least a dozen times, probably more than a dozen times, for issues surrounding her mental health, including like self-destructive behaviors, like cutting and things like that. So still friends with Dellen at this time and probably like I said, on and off in touch, and probably when they'd be in touch, if she would go stay with him and stuff, they'd be sleeping together. Yeah. I'm sure that would be an expectation of his at very least.
Probably.
So now in 2012, Dellen gets a new girlfriend and her name is Christina Nudga.
Okay.
Okay. So Christina was jealous of Laura and Dellen's relationship. Anyone would be if your boyfriend was still friends with his ex who would come by and sleep over sometimes.
It's always the ex that you know that there's enough history with.
Yeah, and not even... Yeah, there's history, and then she comes by and sleeps at his house. Like, it's one thing to have an ex that you're friends with. Yeah. That there's nothing going on. Yeah. And you just, like, have a certain type of history where you're friends. Like, you're genuine friends. You genuinely care about each other. But then it's different when... I think in this situation like this, like, I don't think Dellen cared about her at all. I think she just was, like, someone he could sleep with.
Probably. Yeah. Because I feel like, well, the way that the story's been pictured in my brain, it was kind of one of those like, you're cool, but there's something that we both want from each other for the time being. So we're going to keep on lingering here. Right. And then eventually we're going to go our separate ways in life. Right. But then at some point we're going to trickle back.
So on Laura's birthday, Christina texts her. The text says, happy birthday. This is not her friend. Yeah. Happy birthday. A year ago today was the first time I slept with Dellen.
Okay.
Which I'm guessing it was like, it wasn't when, obviously they weren't dating, Dellen and Laura. Yeah. But I guess Christina just thought Laura liked him.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, like, one girl thinks the guy is a fucking prize, and then everybody else is like, okay, enjoy your fucking pile of trash. Okay, so Laura responds, so this is a pretty good clapback. Yeah. That's fine. I slept with him a couple weeks ago.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which Christina is obviously furious.
Of course. Shut you right up.
Yeah.
Don't text me no nonsense.
So Christina's obviously furious. She texts Dellen about this, and like that she's so mad about it. She's freaking out. So then you see Dellen texts Laura, and he says to her, "You are harmful to me. Please don't try to contact me until you've made some huge leaps of self-discovery. As I said before, good luck with life." So I think,
Okay.
you know how it is, like, he would write that just so he could show Christina, look, like I even said before, don't contact me. Yeah. Meanwhile, anytime she's contacting him, he's probably like, oh, where are you? How far away are you from my house? We can just meet up and fuck.
Yeah.
So then Dellen texts Christina back, his girlfriend at the time, and this is in response to something Christina had said about Laura basically being like herpes. He said, "There's a difference. Herpes you can't really hurt or get rid of. It just feeds off you until you die. First I'm going to hurt her, then I'll make her leave."
Really?
Yeah, so that's what he texts his girlfriend about Laura.
Is this a little bit of foreshadowing?
It is.
All right.
Yeah, it doesn't
see what
take,
we're driving at
take
here.
too long after this. This is the like motive that the
Yeah.
prosecution puts forward when they get to court.
Okay.
That it's like because she's like fucking up his relationship with this Christina girl.
I mean, maybe you should just not be cheating.
Yeah.
If you are in fact cheating.
Right.
And also maybe you shouldn't be in a relationship with somebody whom you suspect of doing nonsense to, and then you wouldn't have to text anybody, and then nobody would have to die.
Right. Obviously, the person who has made the commitment to another person and is cheating on that person is always the problem.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
We all have the opportunity to do all sorts of destructive things, and we
Yes.
make the choice to not do them every day of our lives.
Yes.
This includes cheating on people, fucking people, all these kinds of
murdering
things.
people.
Murdering, yes, that's also a component of it. Okay, so in June 2012, Laura finds herself pretty much homeless. She's like kind of burning bridges with a lot of people. She's got a cocaine habit at this point.
Oh, man.
And she starts working as an escort.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah. So there's not a lot about it. Like, it didn't go on for a long time, the escort stuff. And Sean was still in touch with her at this time. He was a very loyal friend to her. Okay. And he said that when they met up to talk about it, she basically put it out to him as if, like, it was men who were looking for, like, companionship of a pretty girl.
Of course.
And so, as far as he understood, she hadn't had sex with anyone at this point. She hadn't been paid for sex. And he said it seemed like she was very new to the whole concept of the business, and that maybe she didn't understand what really was going to be going on.
Yeah.
But being the loyal friend that Sean was to her, he always cared about her. He obviously loved her, but I think probably due to her mental health issues that she was having, that relationship just couldn't work.
Yeah, that plus drug use and all that, it can turn somebody into quite a mean person, if you will.
Plus, she was on medications. Like, when she would go to hospitals or whatever, she was on medications. And then her friends would say when she would be feeling better, she would stop taking her medications because she would feel that she was better. So Sean ends up renting her a motel. Okay. It's only for a few days, I think, but he finds a motel that allows you to have pets because she has her dog, Lacey. So somewhere in Etobicoke, he rents her a hotel for a few days. He puts her up in it. He lends her his iPad so that she can look at apartments while she's staying there. Okay. So he's doing everything he can to help her sort of get back on her feet and get her life in order again. So between June 26th to July 3rd, which is a span of 8 days, over 100 messages and calls go between Laura and Dellen's phone.
Wow.
Yeah. The evening of July 3rd, Dellen picks Laura up from Kipling Station, which, for those who don't live in Toronto, is the farthest west subway station that you can go to in Toronto.
I believe it's on the Green Line.
So he picks her up from Kipling Station and he takes her back to his house in Etobicoke.
Okay.
So about an hour after picking her up and bringing her back to his house, Laura's phone activity stops. So that's very unusual. Her friends describe her as someone who is literally glued to her phone. Around 7:30 the same night, Dellen texts his friend, "I'm on a mission, back in 1 hour."
Okay.
That friend was Mark Smich.
Okay.
Okay, so Mark is about 2 years younger than Dellen, and he can only really be described as Dellen's like little sidekick. He was kind of like a degenerate. He was like a little wannabe gangster. He would write rap songs and record himself rapping.
Was Etobicoke.
Yeah. He's exactly if you picture a little wannabe white gangster, that's exactly what Mark Smich was.
Right.
Comes from a regular family. Dellen didn't like him when he first met him, but Mark just kept hanging on until he like crawled his way up the ranks and became Dellen's little sidekick. You literally can't describe him as anything else. So,
let's see what happens here.
The day before Dellen picks Laura up, he manages to buy a handgun from some other little degenerate that he and Smich know.
Okay. Even the name Smich, like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and later, I'm not even going to bring the gun dealer guy into it, but he had sold him guns before, and then this guy later ends up being charged and convicted of selling these guns.
Okay.
They're illegal guns. There's all these texts between them being like, oh, make sure she's clean, and when I return her, she's going to be a dirty girl. And he's like, oh, no worry, I can change her print. Like, it's just
they're so stupid.
Yeah, they're using codes, but it's not even like code enough.
It's not code.
It's very obvious what you're talking about.
Like,
you might as well just be like, can I get a gun? I'm going to murder someone with it. And then when I give it back to you, you can just like file off the serial number.
Like, so dumb. You guys are so dumb and stupid.
So on July 4th, Laura's phone goes dead. So this is the day after he had picked Laura up. And Laura's phone activity stops. Okay. So her phone actually goes dead. The iPad that Sean had given her is connected to Dellen's computer on that day.
Okay.
And the name is changed to Mark's iPad.
Okay.
Okay. Dellen then rush orders a new mattress to his house in Etobicoke. And worst of all, an eerie photo of a rolled up blue tarp wrapped in tape is taken on Dellen's phone.
What?
Yeah. So it's just like, imagine you rolled up a carpet, or like a rug or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like that sort of length and shape. And it's wrapped in duct tape, and it's on like a dirt ground, and it's got his super cute dog sitting next to it.
Why would you even take a picture of that?
Because they're such fucking idiot losers.
They're just so stupid.
Yeah.
Honestly, you have to, first of all, you can't just text. That's why they make all these apps. So it make it a little bit, make police work for it. You want to get the evidence, work for it.
Also, you're super fucking rich. Don't take the iPad of the girl you just murdered and change the name on it.
Just
you know
stupid.
anything about phones and Apple stuff? Like, it's all
Apparently
tracked.
not.
Everything you do
Yeah.
is tracked and easily traceable.
You turned on the computer today and you're like, oh, your Wi-Fi is reconnected.
Yeah, this is a brand new laptop. It already knows LaShonda's Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi password.
How? Come on.
Yeah, and I didn't even migrate my old computer over to this computer.
That's why it's ridiculous. And that's why you don't do stupid stuff like that. Really and truly, if you're smart, when you're doing shenanigans, you'll have the location on, but you'll strategically place the phone somewhere.
Right.
For it to just go dead, everybody knows that even if, because my phone dies all the time, but it's more so because I forget to charge it when I go to sleep. And I just don't want to go to my desk to get my charger. I need to get another charger. Anyway, so people know that you're not going to leave your phone dead for a long period of time. It is well, that was years ago, but in this day and age, people don't let their phones stay dead. So that in and itself is a clincher. Something weird is happening here. Then you're changing the name like a big doofus. Why are you even touching it? Why are you going to snap it? Like, oh yeah, I want to have this moment saved for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then you're so pompous to think that you're going to just get away with everything. So you can just do all these things. It doesn't matter.
Yep. Yeah, like if you're going to do stuff like that, whatever you know about technology, assume that the people who are hired by the police to do technology stuff know a little more than you know.
Honestly, I don't trust deleting a text message. I don't trust anything.
Seriously.
Everything you can get back. So I will not write certain things. If it was, like, obviously now I don't care, but in the situation of that, I'm not giving you an ounce of anything to come back to me at all.
Yeah.
I will talk about, I just got a Roadhouse burger from Burger King. Meanwhile, the whole time I'm talking about cocaine.
Yeah, you gotta have these code words in advance. So the day after all this obvious stuff goes down, which is July 5th, a $15,000 industrial animal incinerator that Dellen had ordered previously is delivered to the family's airplane hangar in Waterloo. This thing is called the Eliminator.
Oh my gosh.
And the reason why anyone would have it would be like if you owned like if you had like a farm with livestock.
Yeah, and big animals that die, right?
Yeah, then you use it to get rid of their bodies.
Yeah.
So he had employees of the aviation business order it, telling them that he was planning on starting an animal cremation business as like the reason why he needed this thing. And before he ordered that thing, he was trying to get them to like build one for him.
Really?
And they kept trying things and building them, and it would like blow up or it would like burn itself apart. Like they couldn't figure out how to build it properly. So he was like, fuck it, I'll just order this $15,000 one.
Naturally.
No problem.
Yeah, right?
Got Dad's credit card. So 2 days after the Eliminator arrived.
Why are you even calling it that?
Why am I calling it that?
No, like them.
Oh.
Like, like I know, but like,
Yeah, I know. That's the name like that they actually sell it under.
It literally screams like serial killer's dream.
Yeah, seriously.
Like 100%. The Eliminator 5,000.
Yeah. So July 7th, a calendar reminder in Dellen's phone pops up. He set himself a reminder. You want to know what it says?
What did it say?
It says barn smell check.
Oh my gosh.
Because presumably that is where he is keeping Laura's body wrapped in this tarp.
This is like world's dumbest criminal.
Seriously.
Like, it just screams, I am entitled, and I've been entitled my entire life. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to do anything for myself.
And it's also like, I'm so narcissistic that I think I'm smarter than everybody else. Yeah. And no matter what I do, everybody else is going to just be like a few levels dumber than me.
Like, no
one's going to figure this out.
I took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. So July 11th, Dellen and Smich get one of the workers to help them fabricate a trailer to transport the Eliminator.
Sorry.
As at over 10,000 pounds, this thing. It wasn't going to be as easy to move or hide as Dellen had hoped.
At this point, you might as well order like 10 cows, 20 goats. Like, just, if you're going to play the role of it, take it to a T.
So that they have the hangars in Waterloo, but the family does have a farm. So they have a farm that's in Ayr, Ontario.
Okay.
Which is like maybe an hour and a half north of Waterloo. And at the farm, I think they maybe have some livestock, but like nothing that warrants having the Eliminator. Yeah. And yeah, I guess that's where he was keeping her body at that time. So July 14th, about 11 days after anyone has had any contact with Laura, heard from Laura, anything, Sean and Laura's family contact the police to file a missing persons report.
Okay.
They're essentially dismissed by the police entirely because Laura, being a adult with a history of drug use, mental illness, and reported sex work, is obviously just choosing to be missing.
As per you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they really do nothing. They don't take it seriously. They don't... I think at some point they maybe put out like a description and a photo, like, oh, this is a missing lady. You see them pop up on Twitter or like on CP24 or something. Yeah. I think they did that like once or twice or whatever. And then they got no tips or anything.
Of course.
Yeah, because there was 2 people that knew where she was.
Okay.
So July 23rd, Dellen and Mark transport the Eliminator from the airport hangar in Waterloo about 30 minutes south to the family's farm in Ayr, Ontario.
Okay.
So 3 p.m. that day, Dellen texts Mark, barbecue has run its warm-up. It's ready for meat.
I'm so tired of his nonsense.
At 10:30 p.m. that day, Dellen Googles, what temperature is cremation done at?
Okay.
It's like, why don't you just write a fucking journal? Write your diary out. How did you dispose of Laura's body? Here's my diary. Photos later recovered from Dellen's phone show objects later identified as human bones burning in the eliminator. Literally, picture of the eliminator, fire inside it, close enough that you can see that they're human bones burning, and then like Mark Smich beside it.
Honestly, this is it is baffling that this is even a really.
It's gonna get more baffling.
I can't even, like, fine, I understand not everybody's like, you know, a tip-top murderer, but I just feel like certain things are common sense. You don't take photos. That's why all these stupid-ass kids now that keep taking pictures and videos and putting it on social media.
Documenting dumb things that they shouldn't be doing. Yeah, and we're lucky, though, that we didn't have that.
Yeah. But I guess we're the last generation with the sense that, hey...
No, we didn't have sense. We would have done it, too. Nobody has any sense when you're that young. That's why you shouldn't have access to things like this.
It's just stupid.
Yeah. So anyway,
you should know not to take a picture of the person. Go ahead.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
July 24th. Later they find this, but July 24th, rap lyrics.
Oh my gosh.
Are on the iPad.
Of Smich?
Smich.
Yeah.
This is the lyrics. Part of the lyrics of the song. Right. The bitch started off all skin and bone. Now the bitch is lying on some ashy stone. Last time I saw her, I was outside the home, and if you go swimming, you can find her phone. So not only did he write these lyrics, but he rapped this for their friends, and there's even a video of him rapping it where Dellen is filming him. And they like straight up tell their friends, oh yeah, we killed this girl, we burned her body, and then we threw her phone in a lake.
And everybody was just okay with
Nobody took them seriously. They thought they were just some big fucking losers that are lying and making it up.
And see, my thing is, you know what? It's exactly that. It's exactly that.
Yeah.
You guys are just stupid, and you said it perfectly. They're just losers.
It's like Pazuzu. Remember Pazuzu Algarve?
I was already thinking about that.
Where he told anyone that would listen that there was dead bodies in the basement covered in kitty litter.
Yeah.
And people were just like, okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I just can't with them. I just cannot with them. But the fact that he made a stupid ass rap about it.
Yeah, of course he had to rap about it.
Very much like textbook 1, 2,
because that was like legitimizing him being like a gangster. So, July 27th, Laura's last cell phone bill arrives to Laura's parents' house. Mm-hmm. And them and Sean are obviously doing like their own sort of like detective work on this. Mm-hmm. So they share that phone bill with Sean. And Sean goes through it like with a fine-tooth comb, and every number that's been called, he calls every number. He talks to every person. Aww. He says, this is Laura's phone. You talked to her on this date. Mm-hmm. Do you know anything? Blah, 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 blah. He's asking everyone. He obviously sees in the last 8 days of her life, there's over 100 calls and messages to and from Dellen. So he gets a hold of Dellen, obviously. First, he's texting Dellen. And he's trying to say, like, you know, he literally says, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I just am trying to track her down. And I'm trying to get, like, information about the last days that she's used her phone. Mm-hmm. And Dellen doesn't respond. He doesn't respond. And then finally he does respond. And he agrees to meet Sean at a Starbucks.
All right.
So they meet up at a Starbucks somewhere in Etobicoke. And Dellen tells Sean he doesn't know where she is. But basically she's got mixed up with the wrong people. And he shouldn't expect to hear from her again.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's naturally what you tell somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Because when you have no information, you should tell everyone that they shouldn't expect to hear from this person again. So the police are made aware of Dellen, like in relation to Laura being missing, and they are given the phone bill. But again, they do nothing about it really. And the case goes cold. All right. So it's not really a case. It's just basically they they begrudgingly, reluctantly took a missing persons report.
Yeah.
And then they're filing away whatever is being given to them. So the next year, which is about 9 or 10 months later.
Really, a year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, nothing happens. Nothing happens with
all
it.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about it right now.
All right.
A year later, 9 or 10 months, a man named Igor Tumenenko listed his Dodge Ram for sale, presumably on Kijiji. I don't think it was Craigslist. I think it was Kijiji. For our American listeners, Kijiji is like the Canadian Craigslist. We have Craigslist too, but we also have this one called Kijiji.
Yeah.
It was pretty good for a while. Now it's not so good.
Yeah.
Now we just use Facebook Marketplace.
That's actually true, yeah.
Yeah. So on May 5th, 2 men arrived for a test drive of Igor's Dodge. Those men are Dellen and Mark.
Oh, I think I know
Now
the
you
story.
remember it?
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Okay.
sorry to get so excited, but now I'm like, okay.
Yeah, now you know. 'Cause,
All right.
Yeah, this was big news.
It
was a lot of news.
Okay, now I'm getting, okay, yeah, we're good.
So, for the test drive, Dellen's driving, Igor's in the passenger seat, and Mark's in the back seat.
Literally, sorry, when Chris was looking at cars and stuff, I literally said to him, I'm like, can you like not go by yourself?
Really?
Can you not? And I told him this part of the story.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, as the men are driving, they're discussing the car, and Igor happens to mention that he's familiar with the diesel engine because of his time in the Israeli army. Dellen gets very quiet at this time. And Mark asks Igor what he did in the army. Igor, at about 6'1", 220 pounds, replies that they didn't want to know what he did there.
Oh, yeah.
Which I have talked to a number of people that have been in the Israeli army because you have to be.
Yeah.
Like once you turn 18, you have to serve some time in the army if you're an Israeli citizen. And I've talked to a number of people, and they all said the same thing. They'll all be like, you don't want to know what I did.
But now I want to know what you did.
Anyway, we don't know what they did, but you don't want to know what he did.
It was probably some sickery, but, you know.
At this point, the vibes in the truck change, according to Igor. Dellen and Mark both go pretty quiet, and then Dellen just basically starts heading back to Igor's house. They head back, they get back to the house, they get out of the car. Dellen says, you know what, it's a little above our budget, and they go on their way.
You know what's funny? Sometimes it blurs my mind when we're recording episodes from what's actually released, because I know we talk about a lot of stuff. You were actually because we talked about this, and then
Yes, I did tell you about this. Yeah.
And then I remember being like, I don't know, I didn't know that there was a first person.
There was actually 3 people. There was one person before Igor,
Yeah.
but they had made a date to like meet up with the guy, but Dellen and Mark were so late that they never met.
Okay.
So that
See, all
person
I
just
didn't
got
know.
completely lucky, and then
Yeah.
Igor. So Igor thinks nothing of this, obviously. He's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, fuck, like, why did you test drive it if it was already above your budget
Exactly,
anyway?
yeah.
Doesn't think anything of it really until the police contact him about a number that has recently called his phone. The number belongs to a burner phone. That same burner phone had made calls to another number the very next day, and that number belonged to a man named Tim Bosma.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So I'm cutting it here. We're not going any
Oh,
further
my
today. Long enough. We're like,
Just finally when I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm in
Yeah.
this. I'm in it.
we're right about to get into the, like, I don't want to say juiciest part of the story,
I
but
have a tendency to use that word.
it is the juiciest part of the story.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to have to wait for a week. Thank you so much for joining us. We're about to go record the second half of this right now so that we can have it all ready to go for
Don't
next
worry.
Tuesday.
It's just a week wait.
7 days. Tune back in exactly 7 days from now, and
Yeah.
you will get the remainder of this exciting Canadian piece of history.
Oh, man. You're annoying.
Anyway, we love you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. And bye. Here we go, part 2.